Let me put this out of the way. Okay, so this is the success code. It's actually a follow-on from my last series, which is the one thing, what we need to do to be successful in this business. But even then, knowing what to do and being successful is another. So my focus on this series, and this is the first part of the series, on what it takes to be successful. But first of all, I ask this question, and I pose this question to all my leaders. Why do 80% of people never truly succeed in life? In fact, the really successful people in life actually fall in the top 5%. But even then, 80% of people generally do not succeed in life. So, what I got back was that, people are resistant to change, the ego gets in the way, fear, confidence, expectations, consistency, feeling unworthy for achievements towards success, our beliefs. So yes, I'm not saying that they are all, they're not correct. They are. But I wanted to summarize it in a single word. And that single word to me is conditioning. And what do I mean by conditioning? I will actually explain all this in the slides to come. But this is what I've been doing in Jeunesse for the last 5 years. So this is my moment of truth that I'm actually spilling to all of you. You know what? I lie, I cheat, and I steal. You may be gasping and says, what? Do we need to lie, cheat, and steal? Just bear with me. All will be revealed towards the end. But let me just share with you what it actually takes to be successful. Well, success is 80% psychology and only 20% skills. So I'm not saying that skill is not part of the requirement, but what I actually shared in that one thing, the one thing that we need to do to be successful in life, and in particular in Jeunesse, is it was more of skills, right? The skill sets that we need to build. But success stems more from actually having the right mindset. So mindset is very important. And this doesn't come from me. This comes from Tony Robbins, as you all would know him well. Well, let's look at the brain and the human anatomy. And, ever since the dawn of age with man, what we've been programmed to do in life is to survive, to be aware of any dangers and to be able to proactively take action, even at the subconscious level, to either run away or to defend ourselves in any form of danger, to actually seek out food and shelter. That is how we survive, to procreate, right? These are what we have been programmed to do in life. But you know what? The brain only consists of 2% of our body weight, but it actually consumes up to about 20% of the oxygen and the nutrients, the energy that we need in our life. So even though it's a small part of the human anatomy, but it actually, consumes a lot. So the thing is, we actually, within our brain, at the stem of our brain, we have what is known as the reticular activating system, RAS for short. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on elaborating what RAS is, but RAS is very important because it acts like a filter. Because we, in our life, through all our 5 senses, right, we actually receive about 2 million bits of information at any single point. And you are probably being bombarded by all of them at this point in time while sitting down here, all right? But this reticular activating system acts as a filter because when we are bombarded with all this information, we are not, the brain, the conscious brain, is not able to cope with all that information that's coming in at the same time, right? So this RAS, the RAS, actually filters what is important, and it's essentially for our survival, all right, to keep us safe, essentially. So I know that, to put it this way, and this is a very common statement, and we often hear, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? All of us have heard this statement. You know what? It's not about the teacher appearing. The teacher has always been around us. But the thing is that we've never been aware because our reticularly activating system wasn't activated at that point in time to be aware that the teacher was just next to us. They have always been around us. Let me give you an example. When you're out there to shop for a new car, as I did for my car as well, right? We look around for the car model that we are looking for, and then we choose the color based on what we see, and then we may notice a few of these models around us. Okay, just as soon as you make that purchase of the car, you will see it everywhere, even though you may not have seen it that much before, prior, but as soon as it becomes activated in our RAS, it will start to appear everywhere, right? It's just like our name as well. When you may be in a crowded environment, in a party, the music is blasting away and you're chatting with friends, and suddenly your name is called. And even though it may be quite a distance away from you, and normally you wouldn't be aware of it, our reticular activating system actually creates that awareness, and we are aware that our name was called. Okay, this is what RAS does, and it is there so that we consume less energy to survive. And this is what I mean by conditioning and all the programming. So according to cognitive neuroscientists, we are conscious of only about 5 to 10%, okay, in this case, 5% of our cognitive activity. So most of our decisions, actions, emotions, behaviors depend on the 95% of brain activity that goes beyond our conscious awareness. So this is a very good analogy of the iceberg. We only see about a tip, the 10% or the 5% tip of the iceberg, whereas most of our whatever drives us to success actually resides in the subconscious or the unconscious brain. All right. So let me give you an analogy. All right. You are the captain of your ship. So you are the captain. You are the conscious mind. All right. And the conscious mind, the captain, you are at the bridge giving commands. But it is at below deck, at the engine room, where all that 90 or 95% of the work that is being done by the subconscious mind. All right. So what I'm saying is that success is not based on what we just think cognitively, but it is more driven by that 95% based on the commands that we give to the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind cannot differentiate itself between whether something is good or bad. Whatever commands we give it, it is going to execute it. So let's look at the statistics in terms of why people are not successful. 80% of us are not successful. Well, an average person has about 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day, a single day. And of those, 80% are negative. Can you imagine? We have, say, 50,000 thoughts a single day. 80% of them are negative thoughts. And what's worse, 95% of them are repeated thoughts. This comes from the US National Science Foundation. So what does it mean? That most of us, that 80% of people, or even 95%, we are excluding that 5% that are extremely successful in life, say the 80%. We are thinking negative thoughts every day, and 95% of them are repeated. So don't you wonder why most of us are not successful? So in order to be successful, it is mindset. 80% of it is mindset, and we have to break this negative thoughts and then this repeated negative thoughts that we have every single day. So these are the 4 critical stages of development that we see in humans, right? From ages 1 to 7, this is known as the imprinting stage. In psychology, it's known as the imprinting stage. And basically what it means is that growing up from age 1 to 7, we're still, we do not have much in terms of experiences, in terms of knowledge. We are absorbing like sponges to everyone around us, mainly our parents and our teachers and our friends, the few friends that we may have from age 1 to 7. So at age 7 to 14, this is the stage where we start to model, right? Where we start to model our teachers, where we start to model our parents, we start to model people that we look up to. from ages 14 to 21, this is known as the socialization period. And essentially what it means is that we are meeting more people, we're joining groups, and we are building our character, and eventually from ages 21 and above, we are actually forming our identity. And it's from that point on, it's pretty much set in terms of, and the worst thing is that with the imprinting stage, this early years, we are picking up things that are often very negative, okay? And this is it's starting to grow within us at the unconscious level. So we may not be conscious about it, as we are unconscious that we are thinking about 80% of our thoughts are actually negative, right? So it often is. So the idea is for us to be successful is to break this chain of events. So whatever, and you know, very successful individuals, they may not agree on everything, but this is what all of them agree upon. This single statement, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it's important not just to conceive, but to believe it can achieve, by Napoleon Hill. As someone thinks within himself, so he is. Proverbs 23:7. What we think, we become. Buddha. So these are, you know, great people from different periods of life that, you know, have the same thought about, you know, thought and what it actually leads to as humans towards success. So there's a great book by James Allen as well, As a Man Thinketh. A man cannot directly choose his circumstances, but he can choose his thoughts, and so indirectly and yet surely shape his circumstances. So good read, do sort out that book if you can. So this is my formula for success. So it's all about mindset. Remember, 80% of success is mindset. Mindset equals the ABC squared. And what do I mean by ABC squared? So A, it's about attitude, right? And I'll explain that a little later. B is about belief, as I've already explained and covered that a little, somewhat. And third is commitment, C. C is about confidence, right? If you look at anyone that is successful, do you see confidence? And do you feel, or do you, and I'm sure you would probably know deep down in your heart, even though you may not have that level of confidence yet, but if you had confidence, would you be successful? It's definitely part of the equation. And the third C is actually commitment, because to be successful, you know, we have to commit to whatever we need to be doing, and we will achieve success. So mindset equals to ABC squared. Take it into memory. So let's look at the attitude. Your attitude, not your aptitude, not your ability, not your skills alone, will determine your altitude in life. I love this quotation from Zig Ziglar. So how do we have positive attitude? Well, first of all, attitude is intrinsic, okay? It's not extrinsic. It's not based on whatever happens in the environment. Just like I gave you the example earlier, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. No, the teacher has always been there, except that, you know, with the mind and what we see the world is based on our perception, right? Based on what we are attuned to at that point in time. And most of us are attuned to negative thoughts. So in order to break that, it's to actually have to break that negative cycle by making the right choices. So anytime, whenever you catch yourself, and this is where focus comes in, right? You want to activate your rest, you focus on something, you focus on anything that is negative, you stop it in its track. It's a choice. It's a choice that you and I can make. So even though you may be having negative attitudes in the past, your past does not determine your future, all right? You can actually break it. It is a choice that each and every one of us can make in life. So adopt a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. This is from Carol Dweck, a great book on growth mindset. So what it essentially means is that the mindset is not fixed. We have the opportunity to grow it, to make it positive. So do read more about this book. Conscious of your thoughts, and this is what I actually just shared earlier, and your words you use. The words that we use are very important. You know, I often say, I'm very bad at remembering names, and I do apologize to a lot of people that in instances where I'm not able to recall your names, but I don't want to keep making that excuse, right? I need to be saying I have a great memory. I can remember people's names very well, right? So make it not only intrinsic, because its attitude, you know, is intrinsic, but also catch whatever you may be thinking at your conscious level, at the extrinsic level. So believe, you know, and I know it's cliche, but this is very true. Ask, believe, and you shall receive. So if you want a change in your life, you want things to be better, right? Don't wish for it to be better. You want to become better, because that's the way that you are able to achieve what you want to achieve. But ask, and whatever you ask that you believe in, you will receive. So more dreams have been destroyed by doubt than will ever be destroyed by failure. So don't let failure stop you in your tracks. So this is the formula for success. And this is actually from Andrew Carnegie. He is a very successful, one of the wealthiest people in the world, especially back in the early 1900s. Well, Andrew Carnegie, despite his success, he actually wanted to create, or rather to find someone to actually help formulate what are the laws to achieve success. Well, he actually appointed he actually appointed Napoleon Hill. And Napoleon Hill was a writer at that point in time, in his early 20s, struggling writer, but he had an interview with Andrew Carnegie for about 3 hours. And it actually prolonged for another 3 whole days, okay? So I won't go through the entire story, but essentially, Andrew Carnegie commissioned Napoleon Hill to find out what are the laws of success. That anyone that wants to achieve success, if they abide to these laws, they will achieve success. And obviously, one of the questions that Andrew Carnegie asked, put forward to Napoleon Hill was that, I'm not going to pay you for the next 20 years, but if you decide to take this on, I will recommend people that are very successful to you, that you can meet, and would you take on this opportunity? Well, fortunately, Napoleon Hill did, and he decided in just 29 seconds, and he was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie. He stayed with Carnegie for the next 3 days, and he was given referrals to meet very, very successful people, and the end of which, Napoleon Hill came out with a book, a very, very popular book. And Andrew Carnegie just gave this statement. In this 20-year period, there are a lot of times that you will give up. You will feel like giving up. I'm going to share with you one secret that I've been applying in my life, that if you were to do, you will sustain and complete this mission. And that statement is this. He says, and this is something that Napoleon Hill is supposed to repeat to himself every single day, every morning when he wakes up and every night before he goes to bed. He says this. So remember, Napoleon Hill has to say this. Andrew Carnegie, I am not only going to equal your achievements in life, I'm going to meet you at the gate and pass you at the grandstand. Can you imagine? Napoleon Hill was struggling in life, and he is meeting this very successful gentleman, Andrew Carnegie, the richest man in the world, and he is having to say this statement, I'm not only going to equal your achievement in life, I'm going to meet you at the gate and pass you at the grandstand. That is a bold statement. So obviously, Napoleon Hill took it to heart, and he started to say it he would say it very sheepishly at the beginning, but the more he started to say it, he was to say it for at least 30 days and continue it for the rest of his life. Within that 30-day period, that sense of belief, you know, initially he didn't believe what he was saying, he started to believe. So what I'm trying to say is that the formula for success is what we repeatedly say to ourselves as well. So it's very important. So take the mentor that you really look up to in this business. And for me, and for all of you, it could be Samson, it could be Kim Hui, it could be Yvonne Yan. Yes. So in this case, I'm just using this as an illustration. Kim Hui, and rather than saying, I'm not only going to equal, okay, affirmations need to be in the present, not the future. So make it the present. Whatever affirmations you do has to be as though you've already achieved it. All right? It has to be now. So Kim Hui, I equal your achievements in life. I'm going to meet you at the gate and pass you at the grandstand. So repeat this affirmation to yourself every day, every morning when you wake up, and every evening before you go to bed. And your belief in your success in this business will start to grow. So the science of thought, and I did show this equation during my last presentation, and people didn't really understand it. The idea is not for you to understand this equation, but it's just to show you that there is actually there's science behind thought and how we materialize things in our life. And it's embodied in this Schrödinger wave equation, which proves mathematically that is the infinite field of possibilities, just as the atom has the ability to be a particle or an energetic wave. But as soon as we as observers start to take measurements on it, does that infinite field of possibilities collapse into one finite reality, making it your life. Now that is the science of thought, the field of, the science of thought, the field of thought, and what the quantum physics has to say in terms of how we materialize things in our life. There is a science behind it. So what I'm just saying is very simple. Just as there is the law of gravity and it's a constant, the Schrödinger wave equation, the science of thought, what we believe in, our thoughts and our beliefs produces what we want to achieve in life. We are where we are because of all the decisions that we've made in our lives that has actually brought us to where we are. And our external world is actually a reflection of our internal world. So in order to be more successful in life, we have to change the mindset. We have to change our thoughts to the positive. So how to build your beliefs, and in particular, how do you build your beliefs in this business, in Jeunesse, for instance? Well, borrow on the beliefs of others. And what do I mean by this? You know, in this platform, we have amazing mentors. We have amazing USGS system. We plug into it. There are a lot of people that see potential in us that we may not see potential in ourselves. That's what I mean by borrowing the beliefs of others. But also, it doesn't stop there. Borrowing the belief of others is also when we plug into events, when we hear the testimonial stories, when we hear the passionate sharing of the leaders, the transformation that one has in life. That is the belief that as the more we hear, will start to grow in us as well. Build your beliefs in the products by using them. It's very important that you are confident about what you are intending to share. And hearing testimonies of others, essentially what I've just shared. Build your belief of the company and the opportunity. Essentially, any objections that we may face in this business is just down to two beliefs. Would you believe it? It's just down to two beliefs. The belief of the industry, the opportunity, all right? That's one belief. A lot of people may have negative preconceptions about the industry, the network marketing industry. Well, the idea is if our beliefs are stronger than theirs and we can show them the value that this platform provides and sharing the stories of others that actually impacts them, it is going to help them shift their belief, that state of belief. And also, it's about the belief in, most importantly, like as I started in this business, just like Ocon, can you imagine, I'm a very reserved person. I come from a family of 5 boys. Out of the 5, I'm the eldest, but I'm the quietest, right? And I wouldn't believe that I would be doing webinars like this. All right, 5 years ago, before I started Jeunesse, I wouldn't believe that I'm doing so much more because of this platform, because of the transformation that we see through this platform. So it is, building that sense of belief, borrow the belief on others. All right, and that's how I started to grow. And the more successes that you see, along with the failures that we may face, but we overcome, we will eventually succeed and we will become better and better. So these are the 5 P's for actually building beliefs, not in just yourself, but in all the business partners that you bring into the business. First is the first P is to plug in your business partners into the system. Okay, once they plug in, it's not just you that they are borrowing the beliefs from, it's the entire system, the entire organization that they're actually building their beliefs on. And second is to actually earn in this platform, to actually have that paycheck. Okay, so the second P is paycheck, for them to actually receive their paycheck. As I've already covered in the past, in my last training, when someone receives even $1 in this business, 6 months after into the business, 70% of them remain. But if they receive nothing at all, 6 months into the business, only 20% remains. So we want to have that ability to actually have sustainability. Next is to be promoted. We want ourselves to be promoted. We want our business partners to up rank in this business. And the last is to actually have lots of praise. All right, give people the confidence that they can achieve what they have sought out to achieve through Jeunesse, and we do it collectively as a team. And the last P is about personal growth, because in order for us to achieve more, to want more in life, we have to become better. Don't wish things were easier. All right, wish that you are better. Become. So when we, the put it is very simple. The thing that holds us back is often what we see in the mirror. So if we need to excel and to start to really grow in this platform, to be before we become. And through that transformation, that is how success seeks you out. That is the law of attraction, if you like, or the law of abundance. And as I mentioned, it's a constant. So do you believe you are a diamond? Well, we may not believe. When I first started in this business, I didn't think I could be a diamond, but over time I did. All right, so it's a very important question that you build your belief. And let me ask you this question. You know what? You are a champion. You have achieved far greater success than any diamond. Okay, and let me give you an illustration that you've done it in the past. Say, I'm sure most of you have watched this Hunger Games. It's at the dystopian post-apocalyptic future in the nation of Panam, where essentially there were 12 nations. They pick a boy and a girl, and they each had to battle to the death. There can only be one survivor, right? The question is, if we were put in this situation, do you think you can survive? Just out of 24 people, you can be the victor. Well, we are not in a business in eliminating anyone, right? The beauty in Jeunesse is that there is not only one diamond. There can be many, many diamonds in this platform. But you and I, we have put in a situation far, far worse than this. And what do I mean by that? Well, when we were conceived in this world, in a male ejaculation, there are about 200 million sperms, right? And only about 2,000 of them reaches the cervix. and only 200 reaches the egg, out of which only one penetrates that egg, becoming you. Can you imagine the odds? Well, in this case, you have already done it. You are a champion. You have been put in this world for a reason, right? So unfortunately, because of all that conditioning and the pre-programming that we've had in life, it has actually stifled us, and we've become very, very negative. So in order to go back to our roots, to why we're here on planet Earth, is to actually identify what we are here for, to find our purpose, and to live a life of excellence. So success is, as I have already mentioned, we are the sum of all the decisions we have made in our life. Here again is another statement by Tony Robbins. So, but where we are in life and all the mistakes or whatever wrong we've done in the past does not determine our future. What determines our future today is to make that right decision to change from where we were, now that you're consciously aware of what needs to be done, to become the person that you've always meant to be. The divine creator has created you for something even far greater, right? So this is what we should be seeking in our lives. So these are the 6 processes to success. I'm going to try to speed it up. I know I'm taking a little longer. So first is to actually be responsible, all right? In order for us to break out of where we come from, we have to take responsibility. We are where we are in life because of all the decisions we've made, all right? We do not put the blame on anyone or any circumstances that has, brought us to where we are, that has stopped us from achieving what we want to achieve. So take responsibility. That is, you know what? You may think that I'm very intelligent and I want to think, and I am intelligent, right? It's always about thinking positive. It's always about being positive as opposed to negative. But if you were to look at my school report card, you would think otherwise. I had red marks here and there. But it's only when I got up to university and all because of all the pre-programming that I've had in my life to actually indicate that my success is going to be determined by how well I do from that point on. And because of that, I took responsibility and I said, I drew a line in the sand and to say that from this point on, I'm going to change. I'm going to do very well. So we also need to identify why we are not successful. So you understand why you're not successful, why you're not achieving what you want to achieve, but also what is stopping you from achieving those. It's like fear, it's like doubt, it's the lack of confidence, whatever it may be that is stopping you from achieving what you want to achieve. So identify them. You want to get to the roots, cause of the problems that actually has pre-programmed that in your life. Once you've done that, you then make that decision, whatever decision that may be, moving forward, that you are going to change and things are going to change. You see, a precursor to decision is desire, is to actually want it. First of all, if you want something more in life and deep down in your heart, that's what you really want, make that decision to achieve it. Next is to commit. When despite my failings in my education in the past, I drew a virtual line in the sand and I said, from this day forward, I am going to be successful. I'm going to actually do well in my degrees. And you know what? You don't see that change very quickly. It takes weeks, it takes months before you start to see some change. But at the end of a year, you see that marked difference. In 2 years, you definitely see a difference. At the end of 3 years, you know what? From someone that was getting red marks here and there in my report cards, I got first-class honors in my first degree, mechanical engineering degree that I did. Okay, I was then presented with a scholarship to do my PhD. In life, I thought a degree is as far as I will go. All right. I was offered a PhD, a scholarship to do my PhD. I was paid to actually study, and I said, why not? So I don't say this to brag, but I say this to impress upon you that anything is possible. just as long as we take this process that I've just defined here into heart and into practice, we can achieve what we set our minds to. Next is to unlearn and relearn. My success didn't come from hard work that I put into my studies necessarily, right? I also mixed around with people that were better than I. So in this platform, you will have people that are already ahead of you, like I'm maybe a little ahead of you, to actually help guide you. You have mentors, and that is part of the process to success. And we need to really unlearn and to relearn, because we need to forget what has conditioned us in the past and to relearn skills and to reprogram our mindset towards success. And that's breaking the conditioning. So what do I mean by this? And I've trained this in the past. At the beginning, we may be unconscious, just like the car example I gave you. As soon as we bought the car, we see it everywhere, but we were not conscious. It's always there, but we were not conscious about it. But once we become aware, we have conscious incompetence, i.e., we may not be very good at it, or whatever we are starting up to do, like riding a bicycle, but at least we are conscious in terms of what we need to do. That is to pedal, right? So the more we do it, we are going to fail, we're going to fall. It's going to be painful at times. But when we continue to do it, we will have conscious competence. We will start to be able to cycle. But where we need to get to is this stage of mastery, where it becomes unconscious competence. Just like I'm able to talk to you with, actually now think about it, I do not have fear. In the past, I would be really scared to be speaking in front of an audience, right? But think of it now, my focus is on something else. And that's actually how I shifted my fear to something else. So the idea is to make everything that you want to achieve, all the habits, is unconscious competence. And that's what we need to achieve. Just like, I may be on a cell phone talking to a client, all right, not on hands-free. And before I know it, I've reached my office. Why? Because it's unconscious competence. That is where we need to get to in whatever it takes for us to achieve success in anything that we want to do in life. And I've already spelled that out in that one thing in the past, in my past series of training. So the 6 processes to success, the 6 is action. Action, all this thinking about it, believing about it. Belief is very important, because if you believe in something, you will automatically take the action, because our thoughts creates the feelings, and our feelings creates the action, which then leads to the event that we want to achieve. So action is a prerequisite. So for those of you that wants to know what it takes, what you need to do, watch my, the 3 series, the first episode, the first 3 episodes of the One Thing. Okay. So the moment of truth. What do I mean by lie, cheat, and steal? And this is what I've been doing for the last 5 years that I've actually been in Jeunesse. Well, it's to lie to your conscious brain, your ego, whatever your thoughts, your programming, your conditioning is going to hold you back. So you have to keep lying to your conscious brain that, go from the negative to flow to the positive. Where your energy goes, things will grow, right? So cheat, fear. And one of the greatest things, and I think it's for most people, is that we get into a comfort zone and we are afraid to get out of it. Fear, so make sure you cheat fear and also steal back your confidence. And this is what I've been practicing for the last 5 years. So lie, cheat, and steal for the good reason, all right? And you will be successful in whatever you set your mind to. So before we finish, what we manifest as a summary in our lives is based, as mentioned, on our thoughts, our belief, imagination, our attitude, our words we use, very important. So whenever you find yourself saying something negative, stop it in its track and change it and take actions daily, and you will actually achieve success. So just one more thing. this is my prospecting mindset that I use, and I hope it's actually helpful to you with regards to the mindset that you need to have to be successful in actually prospecting others in this business. And I hope it actually helps you too. First, P is about posture. You know, in this business, we are the bearer of good tidings, right? We are the person that is actually bringing a gift. That is the posture that we are supposed to have. We are not out there to beg. It's the reverse. We have something amazing to share that is going to bless someone's life, that is going to transform them and help them attain whatever they want to attain in life and more of it. Okay, that is the posture that we all need to have. E is enthusiasm. Okay, when I first started in this business, having owned my own businesses for 20 years, I was a bit reluctant to actually do this as a business, but because it was my wife that introduced it to me, and she being serious about it, I couldn't say no without good reason. I started to do my due diligence because I wanted to know that if I were to do this, that it's going to last, right? Because we've heard that there are a lot of negativity about the industry, and I had that preconceived notion about it as well. But what I discovered, and Vas has shared it so well, it just blew me away, and I knew this company was going to be very successful. But my problem was not that I don't only see people that are successful, but I didn't have that belief. Remember, I was very quiet. I didn't have that sense of belief that I could achieve it. But there was nothing to lose. So I said, okay, I told my wife, let's do it. And that's how I started in this business. So R is about relationship. This is what you want to focus on. When you go out to prospect someone, I know you have a target. You may be doing that 210, 315, the MEBA program, and you have set yourself a target towards success, which is good. But your focus should not be on your target. Your focus should be on building the relationship that you have with whoever you're prospecting with, to actually listen. Listening is the key, because when we listen, they are going to give us everything that we need to actually help them close themselves in this business. So, and this is the most important thing, okay? The next two is very important. It's about clarity. For me, when I meet someone, it's to actually have the clarity in terms of where they are in life and where they want to get to. And when I have that clarity, and only when I have that clarity, do I show them the potential vehicle, this platform that we have, to help them bridge the gap to where they want to get to, okay? Only when I have that clarity. That's one part of the clarity, understanding, listening to what they really want in life. The next part of the clarity is that whatever I deliver has to be clear so that they can absorb what is really in it for them. To have that clarity both ways. That's very, very important. And the next is value. And in life, in business, if you want to be successful, it's about bringing value. So if someone is to complain it's expensive, they do not see the value, right? If someone says they have no time, it could be just an excuse because they don't see the value. But the greater the value, the greater clarity that you have in terms of creating that value, in terms of what Jeunesse brings and what this platform brings, so what USGS system and what the whole system has for them, then they are coming in for their own reasons. So I hope this helps you, and this is actually perceive, right? It's perception. Everything is perception, because what we perceive in the world may not necessarily be what is happening in the world, but it's what's happening internally. So in order for you to be successful, it is all about having that right mindset. So I hope this training helps you. Do plug in or go back to the previous trainings of the one thing to actually know more. And the next future trainings I'll be training on will be on the skill sets, what it actually takes, what sort of skills that you need to build to be successful in a platform like Jeunesse. With that, I wish you every success, and I hope to meet you all soon and in person as well. Thank you and goodbye.